Xbox walked aimlessly northward in a forest, not seeing anyone or anything. He looked up and saw the moon. It was night. Then he heard a noise. It was an arrow. He ducked and saw the flaming arrow that hit the tree in front of him. He pulled out the golden axe Scott gave him and swung it in front of him. He heard a grunt of pain and kicked a player into a clearing. The player looked exactly like a sea turtle. Then the sea turtle rose and swung an iron sword at him. With his axe, Xbox parried, but his axe broke when the weight of the sword hit it. The sea turtle kicked him against a tree. He raised his sword, but another blade caught it. A girl wearing an iron chest plate and holding a diamond sword appeared. "Don't kill him, Abyss," she said. "But Phantom," the turtle began. "No, we should keep him alive." Xbox looked at her. Thought that she looked exactly like Nikki. Odd, he thought. The girl turned to look at him. "I'm Phantom," she said, helping him up. "Xbox," he replied. "And this is Abyss," she said, pointing at the sea turtle. "Hello," he said. Then from behind a tree, a ghost appeared. He held a bow, and Xbox could see that it was glowing, with flame enchantments, no doubt. "And this," Phantom said, "is Darker Solution 1. "Hello," said the ghost. "Hi." "Come on," Phantom said. "Go to the base." Xbox followed her and asked, "Are you three the only ones who live at the base?" The girl chuckled. "No. There's a couple more people. For one, there's my brother. Then there's Normal Dread 3912, an unknown player at 6. Xbox turned to Abyss, who was trying not to blush when he heard Unknown's name. "Is Unknown your girlfriend?" he asked. He grinned. "I wish. But no, she isn't." "Well, here we are," Phantom said. In front of them was a small hill, about 15 blocks in height, with 30 blocks was its span. "I don't see anything," he said. "Wait," Phantom replied. She walked up to it and placed a lever on the left side. Then she stepped back the hill and pulled the lever. The hill retracted to show a small staircase leading into the ground. "Come on," she said, and walked into the shadows. Xbox saw that the entire wall was made of wood, while the stairs were made of bricks. Every 5 blocks, a block of stone held a torch. When they reached the end of the tunnel, there was only a wall of prismarine. Phantom pulled out an iron pickaxe. "Close your eyes," she commanded. Xbox complied. When he opened them, he was in a room made of red sandstone. On the left side, 2 chests and a crafting table took up the wall. Torches and glowstone were on the ceiling, connected by fence posts like a makeshift chandelier. While on the right of the wall, an anvil, an enchantment table, along with the furnace, occupied that. The floor was made of quartz, while beds took up most of the room. One was made of blue wool, while another was made of pink, and yet another was black as night. "So," Phantom said, "what's your story?" "Well," Xbox said, "if I told you, you might not believe me." Phantom smirked. "Try us." "Okay," Xbox said. And so, he told them. When he finished, he surveyed their expressions. "I must admit," said Dark, "your archery skills are impressive, to say the least." Abyss turned to face him. "Your sword-fighting style is interesting." "Oh? Why do you say that?" "Because it's very traditional. You hold your sword with your left hand, one-handed. While I hold mine," he got up and pulled out his sword. An iron blade shone in the light, and while I hold mine in a backhand grip. As Xbox could see, he held the hilt in his right hand and held the point away from him. "Why?" asked Xbox. "Well, it's better for slashing upwards." He turned to Phantom. "And you?" he asked. "Well," Phantom said, "I hold mine with both hands. Better for defense." "Does anyone use a trident?" Xbox asked. "Yeah," said a voice. "I do." They all turned, and standing in the doorway were 3 players. One wore a blue hoodie and held an iron sword, while another wore a park ranger's outfit and held a gleaming trident. The other player wore a white dress and held a stone sword in hand. Xbox, this is my brother Jake, the boy nodded. Dread, the ranger waved. And this, she said, pointing to the girl, is unknown! Abyss broke out. Then, tomorrow was training, Phantom said. Everyone brought out beds, and soon only Xbox remained standing. Phantom pointed to a chest. There's wool there. Xbox thanked her and opened the chest. Inside was every kind of wool in the game. Wood planks, and made a bed. Before going to sleep, he looked at the door and at his new friends. Then, he closed his eyes and slept. When he woke up, he saw Abyss and Dread putting on iron armor. Oh, hey, Abyss said, upon seeing him. Hi? What's going on? Abyss grinned. We're gonna be sparring today, he said. Dread tossed him an iron sword. Sparring has been his favorite sport since Unknown said she liked it. Okay. There's stuff in the chest, Abyss said. Thanks, Xbox replied. Don't mention it, he said, walking out. See you in the arena. Xbox walked over, and sure enough, there was full iron armor. He put it on, and turned. Dread was standing up now. When you're in the arena, don't even look or talk to Unknown. Why? He asked. Dread pointed in the direction that Abyss had gone. Don't worry, I'm used to threats. Yeah, Abyss doesn't threaten you. She straight up kills you. Abyss stood up. Either way, I'm going to the arena. Do you know where it is? Dread shrugged. See yourself, but don't say I didn't warn you. Now come on, the arena's this way. Xbox followed Dread down a hall made of stone bricks. Glowstone illuminated the walls. Then, the tunnel ended, and both players stood in the middle of a huge arena. It was... Xbox had never seen an arena this big. That was saying something. It was at least 50 blocks in length. One side made of grass and snow, while the other was made of stone. One side, Jake and Unknown fought with axes instead of their swords, while Phantom used her diamond sword to block all of Abyss's upward strikes. In one part of the room, Dark was shooting all 4 of the players. Most of his arrows either missed or bounced off their iron armor. Dread turned to Xbox, tossed him an iron sword, yelled, "Try not to die," and ran off. Xbox looked around and saw Unknown's axe broken in half, while Jake stood over her. Then Abyss yelled, shoved Phantom away, and tackled him, and both players went down. Unknown pulled out an iron sword, rolled over, and charged Xbox as soon as she got to her feet, who raised his own sword in a parry. Phantom came up behind her and slammed the hilt of her sword into Unknown, who fell to the ground, unconscious. Thanks, he said. Phantom nodded, then said, Where's Abyss? Xbox pointed to where the player had tackled Jake. Phantom walked over. Jake's axe was on the ground, and so was Abyss. He's not dead, is he? Phantom asked. No, Jake replied. He's not. Phantom and Xbox, along with Jake and Dread, carried the 2 unconscious players to the medical bay, where they would wake up in a matter of hours. Once they got back, Jake asked, Hey, do you guys want to play Spleef? Sure, Dread said, following him. That left Phantom and Xbox. Why did you block Unknown's sword? Phantom asked. Xbox stared at her. So, you wanted her to stab me? What? Of course not. It's just... Oh, you're impossible. Xbox walked over to a chest, and his fingers closed around a small glass bottle. Well, he said. So are you, he said, throwing the bottle at her. She yelped and fell to the ground. Unknown ran out. He grabbed a random potion from a chest and ran as fast as he could away. Xbox didn't know how far he'd run. He was next to a ravine in a plain. He examined what he had, a full set of iron armor, an iron sword, and a potion of healing. He got up and was about to leave when an iron axe hit the ground next to him. He looked up, and there, only 13 blocks away, was Darker Solution 1. He wore a diamond chestplate, iron pants and boots, and a leather cap. He held a bow in his hands. So, Xbox said, getting up, did you come after me alone? Dark rolled his eyes. I'm not stupid. Of course not. The others are here too. Except we split up to see if we could find you. As if on cue, both Jake and Dread stepped out from behind him. Both wore full iron armor and both had iron swords in hand, with Dread having a trident on his back. Phantom appeared on his left, in full diamond armor, and diamond sword in her hands. "Surrender now," she said, in a shaky voice. "Please." Xbox shook his head. "Not gonna happen." "Okay," she said. "Guys." Then, before anyone could move, 3 blue dots hit the ground next to Xbox. The Ender Pearls deposited 1 player each, 2 boys and a girl. Both of the boys wore full iron and held iron swords, while the girl had enchanted diamond and held a bow in hand. "Sup, Xbox? Long time no see," Jason said. Xbox stared at him, incredulously. "So, if you're Lawless Jason, then that means you're player 618-334-69 at your service, along with Nikki Flag 07. "Yeah, I'm here." All this time, the other 4 players stared in shock at these players, who had seemingly come out of nowhere. Phantom glared at Nikki. "Attack!" she yelled. Not for the first time, Xbox witnessed his friends in action. Also, not for the first time, they were winning. Already, both Jake and Dread were unconscious, on the ground. Then, dark fell, and finally, Phantom. "Well, now what?" Nikki asked. "I have no idea," Xbox said. Then the ground erupted, and all Xbox saw were the items of his friends, formerly known as Lawless Jason and Nikki Flag 07, strewn on the floor. Where they had been standing, a huge crater had been created, as if blocks of TNT had exploded. But how was that possible? Xbox didn't see any creepers or any light, and it wasn't a lightning storm that made a charged creeper, because it was clear. Looking around, Xbox saw players' unconscious form on the ground. He opened his mouth and poured the potion of healing, apparently that's what it was, into it. "Thanks," player said, getting up. "No problem. Now what do we do?" "You can put down your weapons for one," said a voice. Both players turned and saw Unknown and Abyss pointing bows at them. Then the oddest thing ever happened. Abyss turned and shot Unknown in the back. Then his body peeled away, revealing an Imperial Stormtrooper in its place. "Who are you?" Xbox asked. "I have many names, but you can call me Equinox. Now come along, Jiminy will want to see you both," he said. Seeing as there was no alternative, both of the players raised their hands in the air and began walking. After walking for what seemed like hours, 2 players found themselves in a desert. Equinox told them to stop and pulled out a shovel, and Xbox saw that it was made of gold. Then he dug downward, and the entire section of sand around them collapsed. Below them was a small path made of netherrack. In the middle of the path were 2 figures. One looked exactly like a Roman legionnaire, while the other looked like a smaller version of an Enderman, but its black hair and iron chestplate ruined the image. When they saw the 3 players, the Enderman smiled. "Ah, good," he said. "More guests." He turned to the legionary. "Netherrockus, prepare food. It's time for celebration." Legionary and Stormtrooper stared at him. "Cuz," said the Roman, "did you hit your head last time you were at Magenta's grave?" The Enderman's smile faded, and he punched the player into the wall. "Don't talk about Magenta again." The Roman shoved him away. "Okay, you made your point. Now what do we do?" he said, pointing to Xbox and player. "Well, like I said, give them food. And our famous hospitality," he said. "And then show them our other prisoner." The meal was good, but that wasn't what worried Xbox. The meal itself was great, consisting of pumpkin pie and cake, along with cookies. But Xbox kept thinking about this other prisoner, as the Enderman had mentioned. He thought of who it could be. Surely not Unknown. She was dead. And so were Jason and Nikki, for that matter. And he also thought of what Phantom and the others thought of him now, considering that he had led an attack on them. He was jolted back into reality. When the player said, "So, any plans to escape?" "No, I still don't know what they want with us." Just then the player named Netherrockus came in. "Jiminy wants to see you," he said. "But not him," he said, pointing at player. Okay." Xbox got up and followed the player into a small cave that was connected to the dining area via quartz blocks. Inside was Jiminy, Equinox, along with Abyss, who was bound and gagged. Equinox was sitting in a chair, bow and arrows in hand. Jiminy also had a weapon. A sword hung in its sheath, on his left hip. "Ah," Jiminy said. "Xbox, there you are. How do you know my name?" he asked. "Well, your aquatic friend over there," he said, "helped with that." "What do you want with me?" "Well, someone has placed a very high bounty on your head, and I've come to retrieve it." "You mean we," said Equinox. Jiminy rolled his eyes. "Fine, whatever." "Well, our employer only needs you, not the others." He turned to Equinox. "You can shoot him now." Equinox got up and knocked an arrow. Before he could fire, an unknown arrow hit sunk into his shoulder. All 5 players turned to see Phantom, Dread, Dark, and Jake running towards them. Phantom wore full iron and held a bow, while Dread, Jake, and Dark wore chainmail and gold. Each held a variety of weapons. Apart from a trident, Dread held 2 diamond swords. Both Dark and Jake had diamond swords with iron backup and sheaths. "What now?" Equinox asked. "Just kill them all!" Jiminy yelled and disappeared in a puff of purple smoke. Equinox yanked the arrow out of his shoulder and restrung it, aiming at Phantom. But Xbox slammed into him and watched the arrow fly into the air, harmlessly. While he watched it fly, Equinox got up and punched him, and threw him on the floor. He then pulled out an iron sword, but before he could stab Xbox, another blade struck against his. It was Abyss. Somehow, Abyss had gotten free and now held a stone sword. As the 2 players fought, Xbox got up and ran towards one player he knew that would trust him enough. Phantom.